Hello people, I'm International Master Andrey Ostrovskiy and you're welcome to the next episode of Late Friday Night's Banter Blitz. Starting with this episode, it will begin each Friday almost each Friday, slightly earlier, so 1 hour earlier, 9 p.m. Central European Time or 8 p.m. GMT. There are some things that will probably distract all of us today. The first thing, I'm ill. You can probably tell that easily because this affects my voice. And another thing is actually my son. So today he's especially active and loud. So you can probably hear a lot of him screaming. So hopefully it won't be that bad. Still the quality of chats and explanations will remain the same. So I will try my best at least to make it just a normal session. All right. I'm really happy there are a lot of people already chatting, hanging out on live chat on Chess24. I also noticed that some guys who didn't attend my shows for a long time actually came. Very nice. I'm happy. I'm playing against premium users, so everybody can watch, but only premium users can play. To actually be able to play against me during Banter Blitz shows and to get the access to all other amazing premium tools of Chess24, just go premium and you can do it cheaper if compared to the regular price if you will use this code. Okay, now let's go to playing. By the way, let me know if the quality of the sound and the picture is more or less okay. Just as usual, I'm just curious if everything goes smooth with the stream. Okay, so as usual, I'm going to start with several games against guys I've never ever played before. So let's check if we have this among challengers. So let's go through the list. I can easily tell whom I played before because, well, almost all the guys are regular viewers, which is very nice. But here is play like a pro. Never ever played before, premium user, so why not to accept the challenge? Let's do it. And I'm playing with black pieces. Let's go. So Mobby says, fine. All good says, analyze. Great. Play like a pro. Hopefully this stands for professional. So, your turn to move. Please start the game. So I'm waiting for, I don't know, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 abort. Sorry for that, but there are a lot of other challengers, so I just have to take their challenges as well. There's another guy from Canada I've never ever played before, so accept the challenge. Also 5 minutes rated game, and I'm playing with black pieces as well. And d4 immediately. Okay. What do we have here? Call this system most likely, or a transposition to one of the inferior Queen's Indian defense lines. But who knows? Okay, 92 preparing e4, I guess. So I have to play either c5 or d5. I think d5, there is nothing wrong with this move. Controlling e4 square, additionally. Castles and I guess bishop can go to d6 easily. More active position if compared to e7. And knight to e5, okay. Most likely intending to play f4, supporting the knight. I'm not sure it is really dangerous, so let's just castle first. And knight goes to f3 without even playing f4. Again, I'm not that sure in the power of this move. I guess it's better to try f4 prior to playing knight f3 or something. So let's go c5. Typical idea here. And if compared to f4, now I can simply exert additional pressure on this knight e5 with the help of my pieces, which will sooner or later force white to exchange the knight e5, which I think will be sort of achievement for black, because this knight on e5 is really active, and if there is no knight on e5, it's much easier to play it with black, I guess. Rook e1. For example, now I can put my knight simply on c6, I think, and there will be already a threat of just taking on e5. Why not? And what gives me an opportunity just to grab the pawn on e5, I think. So knight e5, d e5, bishop e5, knight takes, queen takes, I'm a pawn up. Let's do it. I really hope I don't blunder something terrible, but it feels like I don't. Pawn up already, and still control the center. Quite good. So e4 is impossible to play. As for the plan, I can put my knight on e4, I think. I can also think of playing e5 slightly later. I guess my first intention should be to activate the rooks somehow. e4 isn't a threat, I guess, so let's play first rook to c8, then another one to d8, maybe. And then we will see. In addition to being pawn less here, white has a big problem with the bishop c1, which is quite passive, as we may notice being limited with own pawns. So, let's continue with the plan. Just improving positions of the rooks first, and then we will see what to do. Since there is no knight on f3, it is an interesting idea for me to have the queen on h5, I guess. But if I put my queen on h5, there is bishop e2, and I'm not sure that my queen will have a comfortable position there after all. So let's go to c7. By the way, f4 is a serious weakening of the position. Now I can think of playing something like queen to c6, I guess. Just attacking g2 potentially, after say d5, d4, or something like that. e5 is also a very, very typical thing here to try. I guess e5 deserves serious attention, so I'll try e5, why not? Some notifications. Wow, g4. That is too much, I guess. So white is not developed properly to start this super active play. I think now it's very, very logical for me to try to open up a position. Although my opponent has pair of bishops, I guess the weakness of diagonal a8, h1 is what matters here. So I'll take here first. And now something simple like d4 should be close to decisive move. Let's try d4. So my idea is very simple. I want to play queen c6 with a bunch of checkmating threats, and I'm not sure that my opponent will have proper defense after that. So queen c6. Queen h1 is a threat, queen g2 is a threat, and so forth. So never ever open up a position when you are not developed completely. Especially you should be careful when the opponent has a Fianchettoed bishop and you open up a position of your king. Because the things may go completely wrong, just like in this game. So after f4, g4, what I needed to do is just to open up a diagonal, and it's already lost. Well, almost lost. Rook e2, okay, I can play queen h1, queen g2, and so on. I can also try just rook e8 now. I guess rook e8 looks interesting as well. Trying to deflect the rook e2. Okay, I'll try rook e8. Queen to c2. Okay. So now I'm tempted to put my queen on h1, in fact. Or I can alternatively just take on e2 first. Queen e2 is absolutely forced. Then rook to e8. Activating my rook, or maybe queen h1 then, and then rook to e8. And to see what is going on there. So it looks very promising, I mean. Alright, so rook e8 first. Yeah, it looks great. Let's do it. Since the bishop is still on c1, there is also a problem with the back rank, with the e1 square in particular. And bishop h7 is just a blunder, I think, because I can take with the knight easily. And my rook on e8 is still protected by the queen c6. So I expected that. Yeah, it's absolutely lost. So everything started with this blunder on e5. I think one of the reasons of White's sort of complications here was that instead of supporting the knight with the f4, White decided to put the knight on f3 immediately. I guess it's perfectly in the style of this setup, perfectly in the spirit of this setup to play f4. Yeah, this weakens e3, no questions, but it is very important to have the knight e5 overprotected with pawns. Moreover, in this case, White grabs additional space for his pieces, and f3 square can be used not only by the knight d2, but also by the queen, transferring this queen closer to h7 pawn, and potentially by the rook as well. So f4 was a correct idea. Knight f3 was not very ambitious, and after this, I think black is already completely fine. After rook e1 and knight to c6, of course, it was necessary to just take on c6, and after bishop takes c6, in my opinion, black should be slightly better. But if white plays most accurate moves, it should be still completely playable, I guess. All right. So, is it still okay? I mean, are we still online? Because the chat is somehow silent about that. And maybe there is just a problem with the chat on chess24, slight problem. Maybe there is a delay in comments, but would be very, very helpful and good if you could tell me again, what is the quality? Is it still all right? All is fine, says Azure Mist. Thank you very much. Azure, I actually mentioned exactly you when I started the show and was talking about people who didn't attend my show for a long, long time and finally came. Maybe you were just silent during my recent shows. I don't know, but I'm happy you're here. All right, let's go further and search for additional challenges from guys I've never ever played before. So let's have a look. Here is Harry Grieve. I hope I pronounced that correctly, from United Kingdom. Never ever played before. 5 minutes. Let's accept the challenge. And I'm playing with white. Okay, let's play e4. And e5. All right. So relopes. This one with the g6. Okay. Also possible move. No questions. So, what my opponent is going to do. Alright, this is in the style of Steinitz. So there are usually different plans. I'm quite tempted to try something like h4 here. I'm sure it is not the best move to try, not the best move to play. But every time when I see such a pawn like g6, I'm really tempted to play the move, especially if it is a blitz game. Why not, after all? So now my pawn on e4 is under attack. That is a problem. A slight problem, I guess. I can protect it with the knight d2 move. I can probably try bishop to g5, but in that case, most likely I will be forced to give up my bishop. I don't really like this idea. But since after bishop g5, I have some sort of threat like playing d5, but probably it's not a threat. I mean, if I play bishop g5, h6, I take on f6, queen f6, d5, knight goes to b8, and to bishop d7, knight d7, I achieve nothing, except for not quite protected dark squares. But who knows, maybe it's okay, even to play like that. Well, let's try. I know that positionally it is wrong. Positionally it is wrong to play bishop g5 and take on f6, but I want to just experiment a bit in this game. I mean, now I can play h5, but first I want to define the things on the queen side. I mean, if knight goes somewhere to d8 or e7, I can take on d7 and the king will lose the right to castle. So I guess knight to b8 is more or less forced, where after I have a chance to play bishop takes d7, but also I have an interesting idea of trying queen to b3, quite typical thing in Steinitz, by the way, attacking b7 pawn. So is it better or not? So let's say queen to b3. Let's say black plays a6. I'm just trying to figure it out, if I have a threat even. Bishop d7, knight d7, queen b7, rook b8. I can take on c7 most likely. I will have two pawns. So this may be quite annoying for black. Again, I'm not quite sure it is the best move. But I want to try to cause some problems to b7 pawn. Simple bishop takes d7 was just okay. Continue with the h5, I think. Trying to force black playing something like g5, weakening light squares completely and so forth. Yeah, so queen b3 has a downside because of this simple c6 move, I think. All right. So let's go back to e2. Overprotecting the knight on f3. Still intending to play h5 at the proper moment. At the moment, b7 is under attack. b7 is under pressure. Bishop c8 is more or less forced. Okay, now, knight to d2 or just h5 right now. I guess h5 right now, otherwise there will be h6, h5 from black, so let's do it. So, the problem is that I don't have a dark squared bishop anymore. And this may be potentially not very pleasant thing. I don't have to take that pawn right now. I guess I had the time to complete my development. So let's play knight to d2. Ideally, I want to castle on here. Rook to g8, especially after this moves. I think that castling short will be close to suicide. So my knight on f3 is overprotected, so this means I can play g3, I think, without much problems. My knight on f3 is protected twice, with the bishop and with the knight. That's why I put my bishop on e2. Okay, knight is going to occupy c5 square. I guess it's a good moment to castle or something, but there is knight c5 threat, then cd5, ed5, and bishop to f5. So maybe c4 should be played just to protect the pawn on d5 with another pawn to have cd5, cd5 option. Yeah, I guess it's a good idea. And also my queen joins the defense of the knight on f3, which is also something important in this position. Now where to put the queen? I think e3 is a good square, protecting e4 additionally. a3 also deserved attention as a square, just preparing b2, b4. But alright. Okay, now it's time to complete the development. King should be on b1, I guess. All right. Now my plan is simple. I'm just attacking h5 and so on. Okay. This gives me some... Oh. This drops g3, in fact. Which is very bad. Yeah, that was bad. Position is still probably slightly better for white, I guess. Maybe I'm wrong with my evaluation. But this pawn on d5 looks quite annoying. This bishop on h5 is potentially very annoying too. Pawn f7 is under attack, but well, black solved that problem easily. And now I'm in trouble. Oh my goodness, I just blundered so simple thing. All right, time to resign. Yeah, I just played like a turtle, very slow. Actually, somewhere here, I thought my position was already very attractive. So, g3, knight d7, c4, queen e3. Let's have a look at this moment. So first of all, I'm not sure why didn't I take on h5. Right now, it was great. Exactly at this point, because I attack h6 at the same time. So bishop g4, then I just take on h6. This looks very good. So extra pawn. I know that black has a compensation. For sure, because of pair of bishops and position becomes more and more open, but after queen g7 and say rook to h1, white should be anyway much better, in my opinion. So rook to h5 here was probably a great way to get the serious advantage. I played king to b1, just extra move that makes no sense. Knight to h4 now looks very good, but after queen to g5, I played f4, I just blundered g3, that was stupid. So instead of doing it, of course, I should have played something like this. So going away with the queen, having f3 square empty, I mean, just intended to play knight to f3 if necessary. And again, I would prefer white here, for sure, because long term, the pawn structure is better for white. These pawns are very weak, h5 and h6, I have more space. I have a direct threat of just playing b4 right now, because a5 is pinned. So who knows, maybe a4 should be played, but it doesn't stop me from playing b4. I think a4 makes no sense here. So I have an idea of just playing knight to f3. I have an idea of playing different things, so maybe something like bishop f1, bishop h3 can be also considered. But okay, let's try to check the principal thing. So bishop to g4, is it a good idea for black or not? I don't think it's a great idea in terms of positional play, because I get the access to f5 square. So even if queen takes here, attacking e4, I can just sacrifice more. I mean, I can play f3 maybe, and after queen g3 I can just play this knight to f5 anyway. 2 pawns down, but this knight on f5 is just perfect. I mean, I believe I can gradually just take these pawns back. Maybe there is something more convincing than playing knight to f5 here. You know, maybe just rook to e1, protecting this e4. And again, taking into account the pawn structure, I think white should be slightly better here, long term. But f4 was the start of complications for me, because it was just a clear blunder, right? So I played f4, queen to g3. Now, unfortunately, d7 is empty and bishop f8 is possible, so I don't have a chance to play rook g1, rook g8. It gives me nothing. So queen takes here, takes on h5, knight to d3, attacking f2, and well, here I should have played probably something like knight to f5, but it leads to knight to f2. Maybe rook to h2 was the accurate move, but still, black is already quite active here, and I think black has the advantage. Feels like that. Unless I have some concrete play against f7, well, feels like there is an advantage. Here I just blundered bishop h3, but maybe I already didn't have a good defense. Well, probably I did. So there is knight to f5 move, protecting the bishop on h5, attacking the rook. And after bishop takes, pawn takes, my knight gets a great square on e4 to continue the attack. But again, I believe that there is just a question if white survives it or not. Black is already playing for a win here. All right, thanks for the game. That was interesting. So one more against the guy I've never ever played before. Let's see. If I played chess Jedi Knight. No, didn't play before, so accept. Again, some notifications, sorry for that. So white pieces again, e4. Let's continue that. Let's try to learn from all mistakes. So I was just too slow making my decisions. So at the critical moment, I just didn't have time to play a good move. Sorry for that. Need some treatment. So, feels like my opponent is not going to start the game, right? Okay, 10 seconds again. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Sorry. Let's check. Yeah, here is the guy from Poland. I've never played before, except. And here is English opening. This funny line. So my strategy is pretty simple. I'm just trying to develop my pieces as fast as possible. And just castles. And now what? So bishop e2 is very, very solid. White has extra central pawn, but this pawn is potentially my target. And by the way, I can consider c5 now, since the pawn is pinned. Maybe it will help me achieve a better pawn structure. You know, let's try it. c5 looks very tempting when you have a queen on f6 and the rook on a1 isn't protected. Now it is protected, so white can take on c5, can also play just d5, so I think I have to take if I want to justify my previous play. And now I guess if I take on d4, I only help my opponent. So knight takes d4, intended knight b5, intended bishop to f3, and so forth. So I guess it's better for me to start with this move at least. Protecting my queen. So if queen takes queen, I take with the knight and I don't damage my pawns. And potentially I want to bring my knight to c5, a good blockading square. For instance, after exchanging queens, knight can go to c5, something like this. Rook to b1. All right. So to take on d4 or just continue with the b6, let's say. b6 looks also quite logical. But b6 may be potentially a bit risky because of queen d5 or queen e4. And I play rook to b8. Then knight goes to d4, intending to occupy c6. I'm not sure it is a good idea for me. On the other hand, if I take on d4 and play knight to c5, bishop goes to f3. And this also looks not very tempting. Alright, want to try this b6. Preparing bishop to b7 at some point, maybe after taking on d4. Just solve the problem with the bishop. Maybe I can also bring my bishop to a6. In this situation, I guess I can also think of rook to e8, but then bishop f3. You know, bishop f5 is also a playable thing here, I guess. I don't even know. A lot of tempting options. Let's try bishop f5. And now I guess I can try rook e8. So two pieces and the same file, not protected. White will definitely play f4. It weakens the things additionally. Alright, not that clear, so let's just focus on opponent's weaknesses. c4 is my target. It's a good idea to control it. I mean this square c5. To be able to play rook to c5 at any moment. And now since my rook is no longer hanging there on a8, I can easily play something like this. So there is no bishop f3 with the tempo, I mean, which is quite pleasant. Maybe rook c5 was slightly more accurate, honestly. Because now there is sort of threat like knight to c6. But I can still play rook c5, I guess. Chess Jedi, just make one more challenge. I will take your challenge after this game. All right? I can understand. You had the excuse. Happens. Okay, knight to c6 now. Wow, I just actually underestimated this possibility. Because there is not only a7 hanging, there is also a threat of knight to e7 potentially annoying. Okay, let's take the rook first. Now rook c4 leads to knight e7. That is bad. a7 is also hanging. That is also not very pleasant, honestly. So maybe we can play a5 here. Yeah, I guess we can play. Knight f6 covers e8. So we just protect a7. And bishop on f5 is still protected by the rook. So if knight e7, king f8, well, it's potentially not exactly what I wanted to achieve from this position. But still playable if I manage to occupy c5 with the knight. Okay, so I think knight e7, bishop g4, so rook e5 instead. Intending rook to e6. No. Not even rook e6, but knight to d7. Yeah, that's the correct way of playing it. Protecting b6 and already having the access to c5 square. With the knight. But there is bishop c6, come on. Again, stupid blunder. I'm two blunders today. Well, now it's bad. Alright, let's go there. Yeah, very bad play from black here. Very bad play. And there is also a threat of rook b8 and rook e8. Come on. I shouldn't blunder my rook. Yeah. I'm just misplaying it fantastically. Okay. Oh, knight to e1 was winning. My goodness. Yeah, I'm just super stupid tonight. Oh, sorry for that. I was super lucky to deliver this checkmate. I was super lucky. Okay. So, I didn't deserve winning this game, of course, because I started playing it like a complete idiot, starting somewhere from... I guess starting somewhere from bishop f5 move, that was absolutely not correct. Alright, so bishop f5 was probably playable, but after rook c1, rook c8, and rook e1, rook e8 was already stupid. There is nothing to do. with the rook on e8, right? So the critical thing here is c6 square. So the knight can be only useful for white if it gets to c6. So I should have done something to prevent it, and the most natural way of doing it was just to put the rook on c5 immediately, and after bishop to f3, I go rook to c8, controlling c6. And black is absolutely fine here, attacking c4 already and going to this position. So if necessary, there is something aggressive like g4, I guess I can just play bishop to e6, and I start attacking this pawn and potentially the one on a2 with the help of rook a5 and so forth. So position should be slightly better for black, maybe even simply better for black. But then I started doing very, very stupid things. Okay, as for the opening stage, I'm not sure it was the best way of playing it with white. I don't know the theory of this. Maybe just d4 right now instead of knight f3, but knight f3 can't be a bad move. After e5, I think white can try something like queen e2. So e5 is quite a strange thing, so black is probably not ready for this. Attacking e5 already twice, and if I protect it then d4, may be very, very annoying. Just a suggestion, all right? So now I want to take the challenge from Jedi Chess. Yeah, because he had a good reason not to start the game in time. Now he probably doesn't. So let's have a look at this. So the game started. Okay. After this game, we will come back to the normal order of challenges. All right. So what do we have here? A bishop f4 in Queen's Indian. Probably not that dangerous. Surely not that dangerous. So I can play c5 now, I think, without much problems. And let's try this c5. Why can I afford c5 in this position? Because I control d5 sufficiently. It's usually one of the most common problems with playing c5 or something. It's like d4, d5, right? Even sacrificing the pawn. But here I think I just control the thing sufficiently, and if d5, e d5, c d5, knight d5 is a tempo move, attacking the bishop and so forth. That's why I guess c5 here is absolutely okay. So now let's take on d4. Potentially I can play d5, just forcing the isolated pawn on d4, this or that way. So let's just complete the development. Bishop e7 and castling looks good. Castles, castles. Now I'm ready to play d5. Knight went to c3. Alright, now it's time to play d5 because white is ready to play d4, d5. Now it's time to prevent that, at the same time forcing the exchange of these pawns, leading to a position with the isolated pawn, or maybe hanging pawns on c4 and d4. It depends on white's reply here. b3. All right. So white decided to play with hanging pawns. If I take on c4, white recaptures with a pawn, not with the bishop. So I guess the next move is also quite typical here. So knight just goes to c6. My idea is just to take on c4, then to have the knight to a5 possibility, exerting some pressure on c4. Another idea is to stop white somehow from playing knight to e5 because d4 is under pressure. But knight e5 anyway. Alright, so if I take on c4, probably white is going to take on c6 or something like that. Okay, so let's start with this move then. All right. So some simplification I think favors black here because potentially white has problems with pawns. And to compensate that, white needs an attack. Here I think I can win c4 right away. So I just take on c4, then take on f3, and then take on c4. Usually when you have hanging pawns, you need more pieces on the board just to have the good opportunity to attack without actually pieces. It's impossible to attack. Oh, g takes f3. Oh, bishop takes f3 was also a threat of just taking on d4 if queen takes. But my target was actually this one. So now black has absolutely winning position, so extra material, and white's pawn structure is just very bad. Let's bring the knight to d5. And bishop to f6. Very logical setup, exerting pressure on d4. Now, I'm going to fight a bit for this file, particularly for c4 square. Or at least I'm going to activate my queen somehow. So, if not c4, a6 was also a good idea for me to try. To bring my queen to attack e2 and a2 and so forth. Let us start with this move. Also interesting idea, interesting target for me. h3 becomes a new weakness. So where do I want my queen? Somewhere on a3, I guess. Yeah. Maybe I can do it with the temple, like this. Oh, my goodness. This session is full of stupid blunders, you know. I'm just making the move and then realize I blundered. That's another one. Sorry for that. Queen b4 followed by bishop d6 was obviously a much better choice for white. All right. Yeah, my goodness. That is very, very bad. Now it's late, of course. All right, let's take and what to do. Let's attack this e5. It looks like a target. Oh, this drops the knight. All right. I blundered a lot, but my opponent blundered more. That's why I'm winning. Here's my target. I wish I could say that's why I played h4, but come on, after playing queen b4, nothing really sounds convincing, I guess. So it's over. If king goes to g2, I have two checkmates. Queen takes h1, and another one is knight to f4. I was going to play knight to f4, but my opponent resigned a bit earlier than I managed to do this. So that was nice. Okay, so queen b4 was a stupid, very stupid move. I mean, after queen takes b4, knight takes b4, bishop to d6. Black is in trouble, so probably I have to give up an exchange, where after, well, I'll be fighting for a draw, I guess. Because If I take here, then after bishop f8, king f8, and rook to a1, white manages to win very important a7. And the best I can do, I guess, is just to go here and to put my knight on d5, maybe. Protecting b6. Well, the pawn structure is obviously much better for me, but I don't think it's possible to achieve anything without the rook. And the bishop is quite passive. I don't know. Maybe I would have played for a win still in this position, but that was definitely the best chance for white, right? And instead of playing queen to b4, of course, I should have played something like rook to c8 or maybe queen to a4. So I was going to bring my queen to a3. I like this square for my queen, just targeting both f3 and a2, two weaknesses simultaneously. And also controlling c1, potentially, an interesting idea as well. But I wanted to do this with the temple because I thought after queen b4, queen takes b4, knight takes b4, so I didn't see this bishop d6. Let's imagine there is no bishop d6. Well, this exchange is good for black, right? Because extra material, much better pawn structure, and black just simplifies the things, which is nice. And also with the tempo, so a2 is under attack, there is a threat of attack in d4, but okay. Forget about it because there is bishop d6. I didn't see that move. And if white, for example, doesn't want to exchange queens, he has to go away with the queen, which gives me additional time to bring my queen to a3. So I thought it is the same like queen a4, but tempo gaining. But okay, I just tricked myself because it was just a simple blunder. As for white's play in the opening, first of all, this bishop f4 is absolutely, well, it doesn't cause a problem, I think. So just not dangerous for black, this line. Black has a plenty of different things like c5, d5 in mind, and so forth. I don't recommend playing this line. I mean, it's not very interesting. But then, after this and c5, I guess it's much more interesting to try something like this. And after cd4, maybe even to try something like knight to b5. Maybe I'm stupid. No, just ed4. Come on, let's forget about that. And after d5, there is something like cd5, knight d5, and bishop to b5, potentially deserving some attention. So maybe it's not a good idea for black even to try this. c5 so early. So bishop e7 castling, and only then thinking about that. Because here, well, the things may go wrong slightly. So especially if I put the knight on d7, there are some ideas like knight to e5 here. Okay, I can take on f4, but there's d7 knight, which is hanging. And this may be not very, very good in general. So knight to c3, immediately creating a threat of d5. That's why cd4, ed4 is more or less needed here. Because if I play something like bishop e7, okay, you just play d5 and you're much better. So that's the thing, all right? Because after bishop e2, I was quite comfortable. I just developed my pieces, then played d5, and now everything is just fine for black. Yeah, so black has no problems here. Equal development, more or less, and potentially I have a better pawn structure. That's why I prefer this position from black's perspective. Okay. Let's get back to normal order of challengers. So the first guy who challenged me tonight was Galactic. Let's play. And wow, it says we have never played before. That's strange. Because I think we already played at least one game. Okay, never mind. Let's accept the challenge. And again, playing with black. Which starts being quite annoying, you know. A bit tired of playing with black. But anyway, Nimzo Indian classic line with queen c2. And this knight to f3. Alright. I'm just preparing e5 or c5 with the help of this d6. That's the point. Alright, bishop goes to g5. One of possible moves. If white at some point plays a3, I just take on c3, and we have a transposition to one of the lines of this classic approach against Nimzo Indian. But the main idea behind knight f3 thing here is that white tries to avoid a3, I guess, just to save the time. Because in many cases when the king is castled, let's say, it's already possible to consider moving the knight away, in which case the bishop may be trapped there on b4, which means that when the knight is no longer pinned, black should think of taking on c3 seriously, which actually saves white this tempo on playing a3. I think that is the idea behind this order of moves. Okay, let's keep on preparing e5. And queen to e7, I think, is also kind of typical thing here. Because in many cases, white occupies the d file, and after e5 just takes. And the d file becomes open, so the queen on d8 is not very good. Against that rook on d1, a lot of different pins, so feels not very, very good. So it is a set of very typical moves. I mean, d6, knight d7, rook here, queen e7. And white started thinking. I think that something like a3 can be considered here, rook to d1, castling short, castling long even. Something like bishop to h4, going away in advance, and so forth. Yeah, chat is somehow super laggy today. I agree to you, crowning student. Excuse me this. Not the chat issue, I mean, but my state of health. How this looks and how this sounds. And that goes to d2. Okay, so knight c3 is no longer pinned. So potentially can move. White's idea is probably to try something like knight to e4. If I play e5, white probably just plays knight to d5. That is probably the idea behind knight d2, the main one, I mean. Another one is to bring the bishop to f3. Okay. Quite understandable thing. So, what to try here? b6 is probably not very good because of bishop f3. c5 is an interesting idea, undermining d4 this way. Not quite convincing. If I play knight f8, then knight e4 looks very logical. Alright. Sometimes black plays here something like knight f8, knight to g6, controlling f4 and h4, then play h6, trying to hunt that dark squared bishop. Okay, let's try c5. I'm not sure it is the best move, but looks like an option anyway. So now we can try b6, trying to complete the development somehow. Alright, knight b5 is quite annoying, creating a sort of knight to c7. And my bishop is almost trapped, so I think I have to take here. Now, what about knight e4? Bishop e7, I just take on d2, attacking the rook. Rook goes to d1. I take on e7, rook takes on d2, I'm worse. Alright. But everything else looks also quite awful. So, I'll go for this line. Oh, it takes on d6. Alright, I will take the rook then. Knight to c7. Now what to do? What is the correct move? Knight takes e3. My position is super complicated. So at the moment we both have 3 minor pieces. I'm rook up, right? So I can probably afford this move. Super crazy setup. Okay, here I wanted to try this move. Amazing position, I mean. Something really strange. This knight on a1 looks horrible. Alright, it's time to develop the bishop. Probably it's completely wrong approach. Yeah, it was stupid. So bishop has nothing to do on a6, I mean. Okay. Some seconds on the clock, but I should win this on time. And now, like, as well, I won the game, but it was super crazy. I mean, there was so long in the opening stage, and then we just started playing something amazingly crazy. And I have a feeling that I was outplayed completely at some point. So already here, I think white is much better, probably winning. Especially after knight e4. So bishop e7, knight takes d2. First, this bishop to d6 surprised me, really, because I thought that simple rook to d1 was just a way to get a clear advantage, because after rook takes e7, the move I wanted to try, rook takes d2, and what to do with this d6 weakness, I don't know. There is a threat of bishop f3, there is a threat of knight c7, knight d6, too many threats. And of course, if I play d5, then after something like this, white is winning. All right, right. So that was the first moment. Probably I can try knight takes c4 here, but it looks very bad for black anyway. So bishop c4, rook e7. As you may notice, I'm just trying to keep it simple, and even if I do this, white is still much better because black is underdeveloped. All right, bishop d6 was a smart idea as well. Just creating sort of this knight c7. I took on f1, you played knight to c7. I took on e3. Once again, I expected something simple like f takes e3, which was also quite bad for black. I wanted to try bishop to b7, where after you just take here, and well, maybe it's not that bad for black, you know. So at least I'm completely developed and still control this situation in the center. All right, so knight e3, knight takes e8. That was good. I played knight to c2. And after this move and knight to a1, you took on a8 immediately. I guess it was also interesting to try dc5. dc5 was super annoying. In this case, I don't have a chance to take on d4. On the other hand, maybe it's not that great for me to take on d4 in general because my knight on a1 is trapped. But still, dc5 looked really depressing. So I'll probably take with the knights. I take my rook. Again, you just have better pieces here, I guess. Who knows? Maybe you chose the best line. So bishop a8. I took on d4. You just got back. Oh, dc5, rook b8, you thought. If dc5 and rook b8, I wasn't convinced by this line because of this c6. Yeah. So after c6, I'm not sure what to do here with black. I think black is simply lost. I saw that during the game. So if you do this, I'm just almost busted here. So dc5 deserved attention. But bishop a8 is also great. I mean, after cd4 and bishop to e4, I didn't find a clear way to bring my knight to the game. Probably I should have played something like f5 here. Forcing a bishop somewhere, you know, let's say to b1. Looks like a safe square. Now king to f7, attacking your knight. Forcing the knight to c7, I think. Again, looks like the only way to bring it to the game. And now what? No, white should be still much better here. White should be still much better. I mean, simply centralizing the king, this knight on a1 is just out of play completely. I don't know, only if you have a lot of time you can probably play this position somehow. But in Blitz, having no time, it's much easier to play with white. You just bring your pieces closer to the knight a1 and just trap it at some point, I guess. Alright. So let me win says dc5, bishop b7, rook takes e8. Let's have a look at this. dc5, bishop b7, bishop takes b7, rook takes e8. Maybe you're right, but again, c6 looks really annoying. I mean, yeah, I understand that white is just a rook down, but this bishop's combined with this c6 pawn look just terribly strong. So I guess the rook will be just regained very soon. Especially if my knight goes away somewhere, I don't know. Knight to c5 just takes c7. Then c8. Okay, we have equal material, but bishop against the knight, I guess. Don't know. Knight can go to d4 on the other hand. Yeah, it's unclear. Probably you played the best line, but then just, yeah, misplayed it a bit because of the time trouble. Anyway, very interesting game. Thank you for that. Let's go further. Here's Chase Paul. Accept. Wondermaster asks, baby crying in the back? Yeah, that's right. That's my son making some noise on the background. So, Philidor again. But isn't it a bad order of moves? I mean, Bishop can go to c4. This is a strange line. But this also shows the absence of the knowledge of basic openings. I mean, on my end. Chase boy is prepared. I'm not. Alright, let's take. Queen d4 is probably something like knight b6 and c5 or something. So let's develop the pieces the normal way. And now it's important not to blunder the bishop. If bishop goes to b3, there is c5, c4 idea. So the bishop has to go where? To e2, which is very depressing. But okay. Honestly, I don't like my position. Just don't like my position now. How to make it slightly better? Let's try a4, a5. If my opponent gives me a chance to do that, of course. If not, I wanted to try just b3, bishop b2. Just controlling the center more or less and trying to utilize the pawn e4, which is the extra central pawn. But now it starts looking more and more like a normal Philidor for black. Just like a normal Philidor. Alright. Expected this move because of bishop b4 threat. Very typical idea, by the way. Because I used to play Philidor with black as well. I know some typical ideas here, but as we may notice, I'm just playing like an idiot against it myself. It's very strange. Yeah. Another blunder. So now e5 is just... is over. I mean, just a pawn down now. Wow. That was super stupid game. Super stupid game. Alright. Let's play fast, at least. Maybe it will give us some chances. Most likely no, because there is c5 and d4. Oh my goodness, everything is calculated. Everything is just calculated. Yeah, come on. There's just, yeah, completely lost. I'll resign. Alright, I have to examine this order of moves and in this Philidor in general. Chase Paul has just beaten me each and every show. Except Butterfly, the next one. Black is just playing some sidelines, you know, and I'm not ready for them. Or maybe I'm just kidding all of you guys. I want some of you just play this against me during the classic tournament. Who knows? You should never ever believe what you see on the internet. Okay, so French defense. So let's try to remember where to play here. So King b1 first, I think. Oh no, of course Bishop c5 was better. Yeah, I'm just, yeah, blundering a lot today, you know. Confusing move orders and so forth. Yeah. When you're ill, it's usually not a great idea to play chess in general. So bishop b4 is potentially a bit annoying, I think. Okay, now I think I can try knight takes d5. No? Knight takes d5. If queen d2, then knight f6, rook f6, bishop d2, I'm a pawn up. If knight takes d5 or e d5, I take the queen first. Then after knight a5, I take on c5. I think this sort of tactics is possible. Can I do this or not? I'm not sure. Let's check it. Maybe it's just another stupid blunder, but looks like an option for white. And now intermediate check. And taking on d2 with the bishop, saving the bishop and having an extra pawn, right? Yeah, it worked. It worked. And this position is quite pleasant for white in general because the pawn structure is better. I have both bishops still on the board, which is nice. Potentially this great outpost on e5. So a typical thing to do here is just play g3, protecting f4, and then bishop to c3. But now I can play bishop c3 immediately because bishop on d7 is hanging, right? So another tempo gain in activity. Like, now what? G3 is still playable. Knight at g5 is just a good idea as well. Let's play knight at g5. Rook e7, and here I wanted to try what? Bishop to d3 is very interesting. Bishop to c4. Bishop to c4 looks even better. Just attacking e6. Pinning it. Now I can take on d7, right? Yeah, let's take on d7. Simplifying the situation and winning some additional material. Okay. Should be completely lost for black now. King h8 was played. Okay, let's take the rook. Let's take the pawn. So how many pawns do I have? 3 pawns now. Yeah. Let us protect it. I guess I can even simplify this way. Why not? I just have too many extra pawns. To give my opponent even a single chance, like bringing the knight to the game, creating some threats, I think it's better just to play this way. Very simple. Yet efficient. Converting. Another great material advantage. King goes to a2. I can even create some checkmating threats with the help of g5, g6 if I want at some point. For example, now it looks very, very logical. Rook takes a4, king b3, rook goes back to f4, though. Maybe not that great. Maybe g3 should be played here. Yeah, let's play g3. That's an interesting way of playing it. I guess. Maybe I'm just misplaying it again. Some stupid ideas. Some stupid ideas in mind. So here I wanted to try this. Protecting g3 and creating this threat of g6. And now it's a bishop f4. Looks very nice. Rook b5. All right. g6 now. Or rook e8 and h5. Rook e8 and h5 looks also great. The threat of g6 and bishop f4, let's say. No, it's not this threat. Maybe bishop f4 first and then g6. Come on. Yeah, you can easily tell I'm not good tonight. So my shape could have been much better. I'm just missing a lot of details. Lots of important details, I would say. Misplaying some easily winning position and so forth. All right. Yeah. Okay, so I guess after knight d5 everything was more or less clear, all right? But let's have a look at that position. Maybe black had the chance to avoid all these complications. I mean, knight takes d5. Is there really no possibility? I think knight d5 was slightly more testing, in which case I take on a5. First of all, knight to e3 should be considered, but in this case I think I can take on c5. Knight takes d1. What do we have here? A rook and a minor piece against the queen. And this knight on d1 is probably just trapped after bishop d3. All right, this is winning for white, for sure. Okay, so this doesn't work, which means knight takes a5 should be played, then bishop takes c5, rook takes f4. In which case, material is even at the moment, but white has pair of bishops and better pawns. So I think it is just a big advantage. Positional one. Maybe c4 is also something that gains the material quickly, but there is knight to c4. All right. Not so simple, I mean. Okay. After queen d2, I have just a pawn up. So takes, bishop d2, and well, this position is just technically winning, I guess. Rook d8 is suggested. Where? Here, rook to d8. I just take on a5 and win the game. So knight takes a5, knight takes f6, goodbye. Maybe somewhere after knight to d5, I don't know. So, knight d5, okay, queen a5, bishop c5, and rook to d8 here. Well, it doesn't work either. I mean, it makes no sense. I just develop my bishop, something like this. And I'm a pawn up. I don't know, what do you mean? Because rook d8 here doesn't work whatsoever. I just take on a5 first, prior to taking on f6. I just take on a5, and it's lost. So if I take on f6 immediately, of course, there are some tricks, because of my rook on d1 hanging, but queen a5 first just wins. Okay. Yeah. All right. Let's go further. Let's go further. Let us go further. Mobby. Mobby is the next. Accept. Sounds as if Andrey is getting a cold. That's right, Twyhosex. It's exactly how this sounds. Unfortunately. Knight f6, alright. Alechin or Alekhine defense. So let's take it with the knight. I guess it's a good idea to bring the knight to this typical outpost. Crowning student asks if I'm eating cough drops. It's, well, not this typical strepsils or something, so it's okay. I mean, it's not too much, I guess. Looks like I have a chance just to take on f7. I'm not sure. Maybe I'm stupid, but it looks like it's typical motive and typical sack. So let's take it without even calculating the things. Now queen f3 attacking the king and the knight. And if black wants to save the knight, well, the king has to go to e6. But bishop f6 gives me just better pawn structure, in fact. So not extra material because of bishop d5. Or maybe just bishop extra material as well because I attacked b7 at the same time. So let's take. Now king e6 deserved attention, even though it looked very dangerous, but it was still like fighting for something. Because now I think I'm just a material up and black has no sufficient compensation. I have a feeling. I can protect d4, I can suck it, I think. Sacrifice, I mean. So opening the d file. Alright, I will be just a bit greedy probably. No. I will be just a normal chess player. I will castle. Because it's time. So now, rook to d1 or what? Or bishop to e3 or just knight to c3. Everything looks super attractive. Queen to e4 looks also interesting. Okay. I will choose this one. And it's a blunder. No, it's not a blunder. If knight c5, okay, fortunately I have queen to f3, but then rook f8. Yeah, it's probably just a blunder. Oh my goodness. I'm playing like an idiot. I'm playing like an idiot in this game and in general during this session. Yeah, knight c5. My goodness. Yeah, you can just blunder things like this. I mean, bishop f2 is a threat. Maybe I can just stick to the knight somehow. I mean, queen c6, bishop f2, king f2, queen d1. No, it's lost. It's lost for white. White is completely underdeveloped. That's the problem. Rook d4, queen d4. There is a shred of a checkmate there. Oh my god. I'm just completely lost now. Amazing. Amazing blunder. Okay, queen a8 and rook d4. What to do? I don't even know. Now let's try it as a last chance. d1, so stupid. In such a good position. I mean, knight c3 is winning, bishop e3 is winning, everything is winning. But rook d1 is just the only move that loses, I think. Fantastic. And by the way, rook d4 didn't work, I think, because of queen takes d4. There was a threat of queen d1 checkmate. Queen f3, rook f8 is just crushing. No chances or something. But this is something strange. Maybe it's okay. It's still okay. I mean, queen is hanging on the 8. Still lost for white. So, I don't even know where to put my king. That's painful. Oh no, that's not that pain. No, it's still painful. All right. Still painful. I mean, probably queen e5 was much better, just stopping me from going to h2. So, should be lost anyway, of course. But now at least I have some tricks, some chances, probably. But I have only 17 seconds, so it will be lost anyway. Now it's winning for white. And I offered a draw because, well, I had only 2 seconds, all right? Yeah, queen f3, an interesting idea was suggested in chat to try to save it, because there was a trick based on bishop h6 check, which I had in mind, but somehow missed. Okay, no comments about this. It's clear that it's absolutely winning after almost every move, like c3 or castling was also okay. Here, I mean, bishop e3 is winning, knight c3 is winning, rook d1 is almost lost immediately. After knight c5 and queen f3, there's rook f8. And f2 drops. All of a sudden, I'm just not developed sufficiently. My goodness. So knight to c5, I played queen takes a8, so black decided to take on f2, king f2, rook f8, and here queen f3 was suggested. But come on. What's wrong? Knight is still on b1. Knight is still on b1. I mean, rook f3 is just winning. G takes f3 and queen takes d1. It's time to resign, I guess. c2 is handing, c1 is handing, and so forth. It doesn't help. I mean, queen f3 here, it doesn't help. Okay, so takes, rook f8. No, it's lost. There is no question. Black had a much more convincing way to win this. So h5 was nice, by the way. h3, but instead of h4, just queen e5, stopping me from king h2, which means I have to go to h4. Oh my goodness. And there should be something really simple. Like rook f4 should be winning, I guess. Let's try rook f4, you know, takes g4, g5. King takes h5, queen f7, king takes g5, queen f6, king h5, queen h6. Very typical checkmate by force. All right. Queen f3 saved the game. Where? I don't understand. Where queen f3 saved the game? I mean, it was so lost. Yeah, queen f2 was better in that line. Edward. Agreed, absolutely. But okay, where queen f3? I don't understand. Oh, queen f3 here, you mean, and after rook f8, queen g4. Oh my god. I didn't believe it would be efficient anyhow. Oh, attacking the bishop and still... yeah, I didn't see that after queen g4 I attacked the bishop. I mean, I thought after queen g4 there will be something like h5. Yeah, I missed the thing that queen d4 is possible. And now with bishop f2, my rook is still protected, so it should just go away. And if something like h5, at very least I have queen e2. Yeah, that's right. Absolutely correct. Absolutely correct. Thank you for this. Thank you. Thank you. So probably last game today, because I'm really ill. Gonna play PHC 1, 2, 3. Accept. Well, I saw queen f3, I saw rook f8, even queen g4, but I didn't realize I attacked the d4. So I thought h5 would win for black, but it is not winning. All right, nice one. So we have Verisov here. No, it's a different thing. Let's try to go a bit crazy here. Sort of counterattack. Sorry for that. Alright, now I think I have very good pawn on e5, and there is no longer a problem with the diagonal, so I can just take on f3 and enjoy the extra pawn. And I can even bring my bishop to c5, I think. Let's do it. This bishop on c5 is very annoying for white, I guess. Yeah. This position looks just fantastic. Just castling, right? E4 is potentially a very nice resource as well, just attacking the knight. And when the knight goes away, there is queen h4 check, queen f6, e4 should be winning just like that. Okay, Let's learn from own mistakes. Let's just castle first. After all, we just have extra pawn. Why should we just push a lot? White has to push here. White is the material down. Seriously, king to d2. Wow. Wow. Steinitz would be just proud of this move. Alright, let's play e4. Yes, now it's time. King on d2 is just... Well, it looks great, I mean. Now, queen to e5 looks winning. c6 looks winning. b5 looks winning. A lot of winning looking moves. h6 even looks winning, like forcing the bishop to e3, taking it, then so like queen c5, or I don't know. So many moves leading to perfect position. I don't know which one to choose. Let's play queen e5, you know, attacking b2, improving position of the queen, attacking the bishop on g5, and so on. If bishop e3, then bishop takes, king takes, and queen g5. By the way, h6 served the same goals. No, h6 grabs h6 square, so queen e5 is slightly more efficient in this sense. Additional idea is queen to d4 check. Alright, so now we take the bishop simply. And queen to g5 check, winning a minor piece. Well, this should be somehow winning for black. Is there a quick checkmate? Should be. So queen d4 is white's main idea to protect the king. So what about this move? Preventing queen to d4. So we're very close. We're very close to checkmate, like king here, rook here, king here, you know, here, and so forth. Okay, it's not really interesting. All right, so I think the point that after bishop c5, black has an amazing position. So probably after e5, other moves deserve attention. For example, I would have considered something like, don't even know what to consider here. Maybe d takes e5 after all. Okay, after queen d1, king d1, e takes, knight takes. Well, I should have some sort of initiative after bishop c4, bishop g5, and so on, but I'm not sure. But at d5, I'm pretty sure that black is just great. So takes f3, bishop c5. There is no this typical play based on bishop c4, attacking my f7, and so forth. I guess after bishop c4, e4 immediately is winning. Just winning. Should be just winning. So the point if queen e2, I just castle. Queen e4. Okay, just rook e8. I think it's lost already. If knight goes away somewhere, I don't know where, first of all. But even the way I played was completely acceptable. I mean, extra pawn, much better pieces, and king d2 was strange, of course. Probably queen d2 was planned. I believe that queen d2 was probably intended, but it doesn't really help. I mean, after that, I do the same. I just play e4 and then queen e5, and I should be winning anyway. So, yeah. I can even stop the castling if I want. Let's say if knight d4. Well, queen e5 is good, but I mean, if I want, I may play this bishop g4, stopping white from castling. It's lost position already for white. Okay. So maybe one more game, right? Because this one was rather quick. So let's play then, except. So this will be definitely the last for today. d4, knight f6. All right. So then is very strong opponent. Have to be really focused to have a chance to win the game. But it's really hard to achieve, at least tonight. Because I'm ill. But okay, at least we will have this Catalan, which is more or less typical for me to play. So, I mean, I can make a lot of moves quickly, which is nice. Alright, a4 weakens b4 square, which I can use with the knight. I guess it's a good idea for me just to bring the knight there straightforwardly, like knight a6 and knight b4. Will be placed quite good there, just supporting d5 additionally, and exerting pressure on that queen. So knight b4. Now where to put the bishop, that's an interesting question. I guess both are good. I mean, bishop b7 or bishop a6. I don't know which one is better. I guess bishop to b7 is slightly more logical, because white will try e4, I believe. And in this case, bishop is quite good here. So I will take. I have a feeling that I can play this move, c5. Attacking the knight on e4. Rather typical idea, by the way. I already saw that without the pawn on a4 and without black's pawn on a5, so just with the knight on b4. Very similar position, but I think this inclusion of a4, a5 should favor black in general. Because I don't think how white benefits from this a4 move, but I can easily tell what a5 gives black here. So much more solid position of the knight on b4. That's what I mean. So the knight is hanging on d4. The pawn on d4 is also under pressure. So knight takes, it's clear, bishop takes. Probably knight to g5 will be played, sorry. Not only do I play this bad chess tonight, I also speak like a moron. Alright, bishop b2 gives me a pawn on d4 if I want. And I probably want. Yeah, why not cd4? Knight takes d4, bishop g2. Bishop d4, rook d1. Bishop takes f3 there. Yeah, let's take that. So I thought that knight g5 is the only chance instead of bishop b2. So bishop g5, bishop b7, but okay. Rook attacks the bishop, bishop comes back to e4, I take on d4, and so forth. Now it looks like the same, but I already captured on d4, which means I already have the extra pawn. So now where to put the rook? In that line that I mentioned before, when the pawn is on a7, of course, there is only one move, rook to b8. Here I have additional option of bringing my rook to a7, and probably rook to a7 looks even more logical, because I bring the rook potentially to d7. Yeah, let's play rook to a7 here. Now g6 or f5. I guess both are playable. f5 more forcing, but at the same time it weakens e6, so I should be completely sure that I don't lose the pawn, so I will play g6. Rook here and rook to d7. That is the idea behind rook a7, to have this possibility. I think very logical, right? Very nice position for black. So extra material. Now I can play bishop to e7, I think. Yeah, I guess bishop e7 is logical. To bring the bishop to, you know, c3 potentially, or maybe just c5 is enough. Depends on how white is going to play here. Rook d2. Okay. And now something like f5, e5, e4. It's time. It feels like black is ready for it, more or less. Right. Let's try it. Let's go. So everything is just according to classics. Heavy pieces support central pawns from behind. Everything is more or less protected. Overprotected, I would say even. Okay, e4. Nothing really stops me from playing this aggressive move. Looks like a complete domination now. Alright, to take with the bishop or to take with the pawn, both are acceptable. But even if I take with the bishop, I can easily come back to c5 then, later. So let's take. Let's play d3. Nice pawn chain. And comes back to c5. Bishop is completely out of play, and this position is absolutely lost for white, obviously. So the main reason of complications was actually a a4 move, which is not very good here. It weakens a lot. In my opinion, it is much better to play knight to d2 immediately here, or maybe bishop b2 to start with. And it's not clear if this a5 a good idea for black in general. So yeah, I have some ideas based on a4, but they're not that dangerous for white. That's what I mean. To play this a4 and we can b4 square, which is really critical. Just to make you understand the difference, there is an interesting line like knight d2 immediately here. Bishop b7, e4, one of main theoretic directions, knight to a6, and say b3 here. Knight to b4, queen to b1, takes, c5, takes. So the same, basically, but with the inclusion of this a5 and a4, which is, in my opinion, a slightly better version for white. And now, something like knight g5 right now, bishop g5 takes here, rook can only go to b8, bishop e4 is the move, attacking h7, but after cd4, bishop h7, king h8, black is slightly better. Slightly. I mean, should be still playable, absolutely, for white. But it's not what white wants to achieve in Catalan, for sure. Now let's compare this to what happened in our game. So after a5, a4, I did basically the same. And after e4, c5, knight f6, bishop f6, and knight to g5, again, they only move to save the material. We have the same position, but all right, rook to a7, of course, not to b8, it's better. Now cd4, bishop here and here. So a4, a5, in my opinion, it's better for black to have this pawn structure fixed, right? Because white no longer has a3, b4 if compared to that line that we discussed. And the rook is much better on a7 if compared to b8 position because it can easily go to d7, supporting the pawns. And I do basically the same. So after exchange of bishops, I can just start pushing my pawns here in the center, support them with my heavy pieces, and my knight on b4 now looks great. Okay, so thanks a lot. Thanks a lot for being with me this night. Once again, I just repeat this information for those guys who joined the stream, joined the show late today. So starting from this one and all the next shows will start by default on Friday nights at 9 p.m. Central European time, 8 p.m. GMT time. Hopefully I will be in a much better shape. Well, I will be definitely in a much better shape next time because I think this illness is not something serious, so I should fight it successfully in 1 or 2 days. All right. In any case, thanks for your patience. Hopefully it was more or less instructive, despite not very high quality of my play. And see you very, very soon. Bye-bye. Have a nice weekend.